I just test it out?
So the button on the right now, put it toward the PC.
Okay. Got it.
All right, everybody ready? All right, 47, all yours.
Hi, everyone. We're 47, and we're here to present our product, Defend the Crown, where you learn, launch, and conquer a hands-on experience in physics and tactics. I'm Andrea McCarroll, and I'm in software engineering, and I'm the CEO.
I'm Aveline Nguyen. I'm in electrical engineering and I'm the creative director.
I'm Agnes. I'm a software engineer and I'm the project manager.
I'm Cora Baldwin. I'm the CFO and I'm also a software engineer.
So I'm going to be talking about our journey and key insights that we discovered on creating our product. So at 47, which means strong, and 7 symbolizes completeness, which is often associated with good fortune and success. We at 47, our mission is to create engaging hands-on experiences that spark curiosity, critical thinking, and innovation in young minds. We aim to preserve and promote creativity, not as a luxury, but as a vital foundation for problem solving, emotional intelligence, and meaningful collaboration. Sorry. And so at 47, here is our problem statement that led us to creating the Trebuchet, our game. And so as women who are all in engineering, we grew up, playing games, playing with nerds, developing that critical thinking skills by just messing with things that we could grab our hands on. And as we're getting older, we all kind of realize now that like the younger generation, they don't have that really. A lot of times in the classrooms, it's very much just on technical things, very much videos, movies, on computers, on iPads, not very much hands-on. And so at 47, we want to create a product that basically focuses on innovation, that is based on creativity and is accessible for all. Because at 47, we also believe that STEM-based learning is not something that only is limited to only certain groups of people, but for everybody. And so here we want to cultivate the next successful generation.
And let's go into the product evolution. So as we mentioned on the last presentation, we use the Wolf, Trebuchet, and other online models as the reference. And we kind of sketch out like, what should be included in the box sets, as well like understand the basic component, how the Trebuchet working. So our first prototype was made out of the cardboard to get the dimension before we send it to make like 3D printing, and here are our functional prototype. And we will show you. It should be. Oh, and we will show you like how to assemble it really quickly. So this is the pillar using the supporting link, connect it and attach it to the leg. Do the same thing to the other side. So they will show the. This is the bedding aid. The bedding aid will connect these two frames. It's really simple to do it. And also there will be the bedding bay to secure it at the bottom. This is the bar. We put the O-ring beforehand, so it will be secure. The beam here. Use another O-ring to secure the beam. And lastly, use the bolt to secure the board. And that's it. It's very easy. So based on our first prototype, we figure out some key refinements. So first, we change the sling to the hook spoon shape to hold the bowl and release the projectile. Also prevent the children to put some dangerous items such as the rocks. We thicken the bedding for more security and add the rubber O-rings to keep the beam swinging in place. We also add the non-skid mat beneath the trebuchet for the stability. We also create a set of playing cards. So the green one is the regional card, the region card. The yellow one is the action card. And the brown one is the event card. So we will pass around the playing card and the trebuchet for you to look at that closely.
So now we're going to go into the market analysis. So our main focus is going to be kids ages 8 to 14. And then the actual buyers are going to be those in the vicinity of kids, whether that be people or organizations. So some examples of that are going to be parents, educators, youth groups, and even homeschool networks. And so our main focus point for this game was that it's a completely screen-free alternative to everything right now, as we've already touched on in our customer analysis, that screens are at the top of every list of all the age groups that we looked at, and we wanted to directly combat that. And so it includes educational aspects such as history, strategic planning, and a creative gameplay flow. And so it's also affordable for the most people possible and encourages interactive collaboration. And so Anne kind of already touched on the customer discovery feedback, the improvements that we made. The biggest question, which was something we anticipated, but it's what's stopping the kids from just putting a rock in there. And so that's why we went with the hoop design. And we really didn't have any other concerns other than the complexity. And so that's why we bumped up the age group from 6 to 8. And so our market plan, most of our energy and focus is going to go to digital marketing. So ads, influencers, promotions. Kids watch a ton of influencers online, and a collaboration with one of those or a couple of those people could really launch our product into the market pretty fast. And so then we're also going to focus on demonstrations and events in person to try and have more face-to-face interaction with customers. And then the other 20 and 10% is going to be focused on education and then other creative outlets we're going to go into later. And that's what that marketing will go towards.
Now for the mass production cost breakdown, this kind of depicts the cost of different components of the trebuchet, including the boxing and the playing cards, as well as the 3D printed crown pieces. Altogether, the production of each set is $1,560, and for 1,000 sets, it's going to be about $15,600. For the pricing and business plan, we wanted to separate our releases into 3 stages. So the first stage is going to be the 3D printed model with the base game. That's going to be retailing around $29 to $49. And then we'll move on to the premium edition. That includes a wooden version that is a little bit more stable. That's going to be priced around $59 to $79. And then moving on from there, we want to increase replayability, collectability, and in doing that, we came up with the idea of blind card packs. So these will be themed for like different expansions. So maybe a region card pack or an event card pack. And then those will retail for about $4.99 to $9.99 each.
So because our trebuchet have a unique screw-free design, so we would think of pursuing the design pattern. We also like trademark our company name, our game name, our logo. And because we create the original game package, the illustration and instruction manual, we also pursuing, we will do the copyright. But right now, because we're still using the stock illustration on our card, but with the investment, we will hire artists and designers to make our own original artwork.
And so next, I'm going to talk about the challenges and our next steps. So challenges that we saw while making our trebuchet, which was not shocking, but, you know, expected, was the fact that our age group, they weren't outside. Me and Cora, we went out, tried to talk to the age group, their parents, and a lot of them were not outside. I've asked friends and family. I used to be a babysitter, asked families I used to babysit, and they were like, yeah, a lot of times these kids are inside. But while we were outside, we did realize that this means our game is very much of a necessity to increase that. On top of that, we also did realize by having our product out, we did find other groups of people being interested. So not only just like the group ages our main target being 18 to 14 and parents, but also being college students. We had a lot of college students show interest in our game, which again, Aveline kind of talked about us doing different editions of it. Which is again later on in the future something that may be adult friendly. But yeah, And then next challenge we had was finding the optimal method for attaching our counterweights. So right here, we have kind of like a slit here where we connect our counterweight into it. And so we just kind of slide this in and just it sits in nicely. And we have a video on our website and all our other social medias where we can show how to make that knot and how to make the counterweight to fit them. But we were thinking maybe that's too complex for kids when our age group was a little bit younger. And so we came up with the idea of putting a hole. We decided to put a hole through our beam instead at the bottom to connect our weights. There we go. So if you can see, we put a hole instead. But when we did that, we kind of realized it messed with the physics. And when we launched the ball, instead of it going a little bit higher, which again, we kind of wanted to have that flashiness of it going higher, you know, being something that gravitates towards kids, it kind of just went straight down. And so we realized in general, the best solution would be our slit. And yes, that did mean we had to kind of raise the age range to be a little bit older, but we did come up with a solution again of making a video where we show how to make this, the knot, how to attach the weights and everything, and how to put it on to the beam. So we did come up with that solution. And it kind of just showed that, again, simplicity is sometimes not the best option. And again, we didn't overcomplicate it, but at the same time, you know, we tried with the hole and that didn't work. And then also the beam length, we originally, it was a little bit longer, but when we were trying to use Makerspace, which is what most of our products came from, they kept telling us that the beam, the length of it exceeded their 3D printing limitations. And so it came with a lot of talking and working with them, but we decided to kind of, what they would do is they would 3D print the beam into two parts and connect it together, which if you're looking around with the one we're showing, it's kind of hard to tell, but it's like they just connected it in the middle and it still works. The strength is still good. So, yeah. And our next steps that we want to take as a group is the fact that we want to register any trademarks, patent, and copyrights. Like Anne mentioned, a lot of things we have created, the screw-free component of our beam. We do want to patent that, as that we realize a lot of the trebuchets that we saw, they don't really have that. We looked it up. A lot of them are not, that's not trademark or patent at all. Also design, company logo, our name. And then next thing we want to do is set a production supply chain. Right now, a lot of our supply is coming out of Makerspace, and we hope to again resource that to a bigger company where it will allow us to have again buy things in bulk and also reduce the cost of our trebuchet. And then create more press release through marketing campaigns such as social media, like you mentioned before, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, etc. Again, these are things kids are now looking at. We want to reach out to them so they can go to their parents, and even some parents nowadays, Facebook even. A lot of parents are on Facebook. They have Facebook Reels where we can show videos of our game and how interactive it is and how it would be very good to have your kids playing this. And then next thing, we'll launch a product where we would collect reviews, address issues that potentially customers might have, and plan for product iteration. So like anything we need to redo, another version of our product, that would be something that people will want. Another version such as like making one out of wood, or you know, make an adult version that again, we haven't decided what that would be, but that would be something we will consider. And so why should you invest in our game? So at FORTI7, we're very mission driven. We definitely believe in our mission statement, as again, we are all women in STEM, and dealing with that can be very difficult. And we know what it feels like to kind of have limited access where people are always looking down at you. People are not expecting you to be able to do that much. And so we kind of have a unique perspective where we wanted to make this game a lot accessible to all. And so we were very much adamant on making this cost friendly and wanted this to be something, you know, anybody, different backgrounds can buy. And then also we believe this is addressing a critical issue of kids, you know, lacking creativity, innovation, and not being able to collaborate as much as they should, as those are very valuable skills in the future. Next thing is our customer. We don't necessarily rely on one type of customer. Like I said, we want our game to be accessible to all, which comes with that is again, having a very big market. And so not only just be kids of 18 and 14, but again, adults, again, educators, youth programs, a lot of them have shown interest in our game just from us going out, showing, expressing what it is, curiosity, them bringing it, their curiosity coming to us. And then also the process, the scalable product, our product is very much able to expand on what it is right now. We just right now have a simple, small kind of trebuchet game where you launch the ball, you hit the ground, you get the ground, everything, where a lot of people have thought about, you know, making it bigger, making it kind of life size, making it, I know me, Adam talked about making it like a poolside kind of version of it, where you can like, you know, on a hot day, play on the pool with your kids and stuff. But our product just has that ability to expand on itself, which we think could be very valuable. And then next, our market is constantly growing. Based off our research, we have seen that the trebuchet toy making market and education market is expanding. It's constantly growing. There's a high demand for it. And it's from not only just educators, but parents. Parents are wanting their kids to do more hands-on things. And a lot of them are wanting their kids to be very far away from screen free. A lot of people I've talked to, parents have been like, I don't want my kids to have a screen until like they're in their early teens and stuff like that. So they can be able to develop their mind and be able to grow their creativity and everything. And we want to address that. We want to give them something so they can have their kids play with and so they can also play with it. And here we're going to talk about project cash flow, which is just simply like in our first year, how we expect our costs to go if you invest in us. So this is roughly based off if we were to sell 2,600 units of our game. So mass production, it would be $15 per unit. That's the overall of it being 39,000. Packaging, instruction, insertions, we roughly saw that was about $3 per unit, so 7,500. Shipping and logistics, roughly $6 per unit, 15,000. Marketing, advertising, digital, and events, 25,000. Staffing support, 10,000. IP protection, 4,000. Fulfillment and assembly, 5,000. And so that total estimate came down to $105,500. And then this is just, again, a little bit bigger expansion on it in a 5-year plan, where in 2025, our expenses is mainly the investment, and how much will be used, net cash flow being around zero, cumulative cash flow being zero. And that's kind of roughly due to the fact that this would kind of be, again, we haven't launched the product yet. By the end of 2025, product should be launched. So 2026, we start seeing more revenue, come in, expenses being a little bit lower, due to mass production, and the investment use $0. And that net cash flow will be 55,000, cumulative cash flow 55,000 in 2027. That revenue going up more, 200,000, expenses go roughly a little bit up, 9,000, $0, $110, going on and on and on. And so basically that's our yearly cash flow. We're done. Thank you so much. Do you have any questions?
Yeah, so you've obviously made a number of iterations, which I commend you for, or it shows that you've investigated, tried, and then made some improvements. What are you taking away from this process in terms of what you have learned in building this game?
Definitely when creating this game, it's very different from products we made in the past. Most of us have been in this group for now about a year. We went from working for BCom to making an app to then making a toy for kids. And making a toy for kids, we thought that would be something, you know, not easy, but it's a little bit simpler than what we've done before. But even that requires a lot of details, such as like packaging, labor. How would we try to make this based on our values as a team? How do we try to make this like cost friendly? But also definitely making the trebuchet itself and the physics of it. Again, we had a lot of iterations where one pieces, and that's our first prototype right there, and that had some issues, such as some of the base was loose. And again, like the ball, we had problems where the ball would launch too far. And so we were dealing with that. And then also the problem, again, kids kids doing dangerous stuff. Again, they're kids are gonna do whatever. Again, placing a rock in there, let's stop them from doing that. And so we have to basically kind of go at that and look from a parent's perspective, and none of us are parents. We only have, I know I just have the perspective in babysitting. A few of us have the perspective of doing after school care, and that's our connection to kids. But definitely have to look at from that perspective and how to, make this something that settles parents, worry about, okay, is this gonna be dangerous for my kids? Is this gonna be causing damage to my house, So that was definitely something different and new, a little bit challenging you have to deal with, but I felt like we did pretty well in overcoming that. So yeah.
Anybody else wants to ball clap in there?
Should we?
Okay.
Yeah, all right.
Thanks. Thanks.
We can just do it. Oh, yes. Okay. We just, where do you want to launch?
They put a rubber mats, keep it sliding.
Yeah.
That's smart.
We just.
I got it.
So in like the typical game, how you're defending the crown is placing these pieces behind each of your like castle walls. And like these action cards, if you see, like, if you saw them, they have like reinforce the wall, so you would take a turn to send out like reinforcements to take down these, or like to build them back up. And then the historical aspect of it is that the kids would need to know what countries would coincide with each like kind of event or attack. You can go ahead. And then
Yeah.
If you added more weight, you could get more velocity.
Yeah.
on-
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, but we gave them a certain amount of weight. That's not all the way, but we gave them a certain amount so they can't like, fully launch it. Cause again,
Yeah, we tested it out with rocks. It didn't go far.
yeah,
And then we also made sure that these pieces aren't able to like be launched either.
yeah,
In case of,
Really.
No.
There you go.
So it's just simple things we did.
Throw the pawns in the game.
the only thing able to launch is this.
Yeah,
Cause you really can't put more weight on the other end either.
yeah.
The
We-
washers hang just.
We
there.
tried it. We were throwing rocks outside of the student center. They were very much questioning what we were doing.
That one to show.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you wanna try? But yeah.
You can try the first one.
Look, here's one. It's a little rough,
Yeah.
It's all right.
but. Yeah,
Dr. Evans, Dr. Sidney?
Oh, I see a possibility for this where people can build their own, 3D print their own, and what you're selling is the cards. There's a lot less hassle for you, a lot less to ship. And then it could be kind of a crowdsource thing, and people could do different designs.
mhm,
And you just simply put in constraints, like this is how much weight you get for the game, and then your cards or whatever, you can get more weight up to a certain amount to fire further or advance on your opponent or whatever. So I think there's a cool component where people could kind of build their own. It gets them hands-on in that way too. It's hands-on already, but that puts a screen in front, but a screen where they're doing something.
yeah,
No, you're right. And that was a thing that we had initially considered with a website and to kids kind of connecting with each other and uploading their gameplay to, or their designs, like you said, if they make their own.
yeah,
I did like the cooking show aspect where you build one side, then you pull the other one out, which is. No, it saves time. I mean, that's how they do cooking shows. They said that it certainly looks like this and the one that's.
yeah, that was good. Yeah.
So good.
Thank
I
you.
like this idea, the concept. I think as far as gameplay, that's another thing you want to do a lot of testing.
Mhm.
Once you kind of come up with, okay, here's how to do it, and the kids actually think it's fun, get some of their feedback as to
Yeah.
what they want to do or not want to do.
Yeah,
Yeah, there was like, so my friend was also helping me design the cards, and her little brother, I think he's like 10, 11 or
Yeah.
something. He got to see the cards and he's been asking us constantly when he
Yeah.
can play with it. So we're like giving it or like letting him test it out after.
And
Yeah.
that's what you need, starting,
Yeah.
both of them, then get more representatives of other kids too.
yeah.
Just expect it to come back in pieces.
The bolts where you're putting on the smaller bolts on the outside.
Yeah.
How easy are those to come on and off? Because as a parent, that would be one of the first things kids would look.
Yeah.
This one or the
I think she means the.
Do you mean-
Oh, okay.
They screw on, so we 3D printed like the threads on it, so like with the friction of the actual plastic, it's hard to like.
Okay.
For them to come off with multiple layers.
Make it so off. Yeah, small words.
All right, very good.
Thank you. Yes, grab it from the bottom.
Wait, are these ours?
Oh, yeah, that was ours.